The following are news clips from the 1970s. With threats of a recession looming over Las Vegas, both for the casinos and tourists, casino representatives expressed their thoughts and concerns about the visitors' experience. Thank you to the Hesiyaka News YouTube channel for finding this clip. The full link to the original YouTube video will be linked in the description. Pay very close attention to how these casino executives talk and where their priorities lie in terms of getting more visitors with an oncoming recession. We'll then compare this to the strategy of the CEO of MGM Resorts International, William Hornbuckle, and his thoughts about boosting the Vegas economy amid the oncoming recession in 2025.
I feel would be best for ourselves and it would be best for Las Vegas, because at $1.35 we could end up with hamburgers at $2.50 or $3. And how many people are you going to have come to Las Vegas when they have to pay $3 for a hamburger?
Is it just a matter of coming to Las Vegas? You say you're busy and your rooms are occupied. What about the tables? Are people spending money?
People are spending money. Our drop has increased at our tables, and more and more people are coming. We find that our foreign business has increased to a great extent. It's bigger than ever before.
Really?
Well, I would never tend to say that, but most of the industry feels that the economy will turn around and that Las Vegas will continue to grow. Here at Caesars, we plan to add additional rooms again in another showroom, and some of the other hotels also are looking forward to adding additional facilities, having faith in the community and the people coming here.
The guy talking about burger prices was in response to refusing to pay workers a fair wage, his justification being that they'd then have to increase prices of burgers. The second fella, the CEO of Caesars Entertainment at the time, seemed much more concerned about the profitability of his casino more than anything. So yeah, not exactly saints, these guys. I mean, that just comes with the territory for almost any corporate execs. But I want to point something out to you that's very important. Maybe you caught on to it already. Notice how their concern was on the customer, more specifically the average person. The first guy with his concern about inflated prices of burgers negatively affecting tourists, and the CEO of Caesars primarily caring about filling out rooms, aka making sure traffic to Vegas is as high as possible. Back in the 1970s, these guys were still all about making money. Can't blame them, that's what we're all in Vegas for, but the focus on how to make that money is clearly about how to appease the everyday middle-class tourist. Not once, anywhere, in this whole video, again, link in the description, you can go watch the whole thing yourself, does anyone at any point mention anything about high rollers or catering to them. Let's now compare this with what the CEO of MGM Resorts International had to say in a publicly available board meeting this summer, and how he views it, with an economic situation today mirroring that of 1975.
Hornbuckle noted that the decline in visitors to Las Vegas is due to many factors. He said that visitation from other countries, notably including Canada, has fallen off, and volume at Harry Reid International Airport has declined. I think that's a consideration that we all need to think about going forward, as it relates to evaluating customers and how to attract them and what to do. We do feel solid about our ability to attract premium customers. And again, looking at the higher end of our spectrum and luxury with Cosmo, Aria, and the Bellagio. We continue to drive up occupancy and deals from those customers, but we do need to keep an eye on value. We followed the headlines, as I think many have, in terms of the value equation, the value stories, and what is being said about Las Vegas. And we do need to enhance that. Las Vegas is still an amazing value. Some of the rates out there this next midweek are comparable to things I've seen 20 years ago. And so to say Las Vegas is not a value, which I know has become a headline, is just not a complete reality. We all need to focus on that. We all need to change the narrative and continue to keep it positive. Hornbuckle also commented on the recent passage of President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. MGM would like to see some fixes to that, notably the taxation rates on high-volume gamblers. Quote, you could win $1,000, lose $1,000, and end up with paying a 10% tax on 10% of your losses. We're very focused on that as a starting point.
Let me ask you, what feels different about what the modern casino CEO in 2025 says about bringing in more money to their casinos versus what the CEOs said back in 1975? Did Hornbuckle even mention once a concern for declining tourism due to average everyday people being priced out? Nope.
All he talked about was how to appeal to higher rollers, how excited they are that they get tax breaks on higher payouts, something that is a luxury of high rollers and not your common everyday visitor. This is at the core of why Vegas feels so dead now. It's not the economy. The economy was bad back in the mid-1970s too. And yet folks were still visiting and still had nothing but good things to say about Vegas. Here's some interviews of tourists from the same news broadcast from earlier.
Name, sir?
Kyer, K-Y-E-R.
Your first name?
Bob Kyer.
Where are you from?
San Diego.
Ah. Now, how long have you been in Las Vegas on this trip?
We've been here 2 days. We will go home probably this afternoon, later.
How many times have you been here before?
About 40, 50 times in the last 10 years.
Do you drive in or do you fly?
We drove in, yes. We usually drive in.
Now, why do you come here to Las Vegas?
We're retired, Mrs. Kyer and myself, and we get a lot of relaxation out of Las Vegas. We don't spend a lot of money, but we do have fun. We enjoy the people, the crowds, seeing the things, and playing slot machines, a little blackjack maybe, and once in a while, little craps.
Now, there's supposed to be a recession on. Does that give you a little bit of something to think about when you come here?
Yes, it does. We're not real good gamblers. We tend to minimize our gambling, but obviously the recession affects different people different ways, and I think it's particularly harder on the younger people who are now just getting their start, as opposed to retired people who have accumulated a little money. Not that anyone's wealthy, but I mean, recessions tend to be tougher on the younger people, as I found out in the 1930 Depression.
Well, in a word, why do you come to Las Vegas?
For fun and relaxation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your name?
Mary McDonald.
Mary McDonald.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Denver.
Why are you in Las Vegas?
Just to relax.
How often do you come here?
Once every couple of years.
Now, there's supposed to be a recession going on. Does that worry you at all? Do you gamble at all?
Oh, some. Not a great deal.
Well, how do you feel about gambling when there's a recession going on?
Well, I figure you do what you can afford to do.
Can you afford it?
Well, I wouldn't be here if I couldn't. I stay within my limit.
What's the main reason you come to Las Vegas?
Because, believe it or not, it's relaxing. You get away from everything, and it's really relaxing.
Why Las Vegas as opposed to, let's say, Tucson or Phoenix?
Well, I think this is one of the last places really left that you can have, see entertainment and just do what you want to, really.
How big a part of that is gambling?
Well, I'm not that heavy a gambler, so I don't, I think it's just the whole idea of the atmosphere here.
Let me talk to your friend. May I have your name?
Shirley Brugenthes,
Where's your home? Denver also?
Denver, Colorado.
Why do you come here?
Oh, for rest, relaxation, unwind, forget everything and everybody.
Does gambling help?
Yeah, I think so. If you don't get too carried away, you allow a certain amount. That's included in the trip.
Does the fact that there's a recession make you feel any differently about coming here? Do you think any longer before you come?
Well, maybe you don't come with the idea of spending as many dollars as
But this might be the last chance we can have a good time. If the recession's going to be as bad as they say, we might just as well live it up for today because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Look, people back then were scared about the economy too. Did any of them, though, complain about Vegas being too expensive or they felt like they were being ripped off? No, they talked about how relaxing it was. In 2025, it's impossible to feel relaxed when you're constantly nickel and dimed on everything. That's why people today are so fed up with Vegas. Back then, you felt like it was a place to escape your troubles. Now your troubles follow you to Vegas, and you're constantly reminded of how broke you are back home. How can you forget about your worries when every single thing that used to be free now has a fee attached to it? This is at the crux of why people are leaving Vegas in droves and not coming back. They used to feel like Vegas was on their side even during a recession. Now it feels like Vegas is against them, using the recession as an excuse to extort them out of money at every turn. Just take a look at what people have to say in 2025 and see the difference in demeanor and attitude toward Vegas as a whole compared to these folks back in 1975.
You've seen the headlines, whether it's a viral $26 bottle of water at the Aria or people taking to social media to complain about high resort fees, the theme remains the same. Is Las Vegas worth it? Well, our news crew headed to the Strip to hear from tourists their thoughts.
The first day we were here, I got a bagel and cream cheese, and it was $12. So I definitely had a little bit of sticker shock.
Tourists Caitlin and Max Laney from Scottsdale, Arizona, visit Las Vegas at least once a year and say things are more pricey than they're used to.
For lunch, and we had, a club sandwich and a couple Diet Cokes. The Cokes are $4 a pop.
They're not the only ones feeling the pinch. Makita Chisholm is visiting from Tennessee with her husband.
So I've been a couple of times, and it is much higher than even last summer.
Chisholm calls herself the cost-efficient one in the relationship. She was here last July and said across the board, from show costs to food, prices are higher. And it's not just tourists feeling the change.
I've noticed it's less tourists this year, but last year was a lot more than this year.
Melissa Spurgeon has worked at Fun Gifts on the Las Vegas Strip for 3 years and blames overall high prices for less tourists. I asked Las Vegas Mayor Shelley Berkeley about the sticker shock. This was her response.
I mean, if you have to pay $70 for valet parking, you're going to find out very quickly that people don't want to pay $70 for parking.
The mayor attributing the increase to a mix of factors, including a slow economy nationwide, as well as the gaming industry nickel and diming people, which refers to wearing someone down with small charges.
Similar economy, completely different perspective on Vegas. So no, they cannot use the economy as an excuse for treating their guests poorly. The only true difference is how Vegas casinos treated their customers. Back then, they truly treated you like you mattered, and as a result, the tourists had glowing praise of Vegas. Now, people can feel that the casinos don't give a damn about them and only value them based purely off how much money they think they can make from them. It says a lot that even in the 70s, when the mob still had strong ties to Vegas, that people felt they were more on their side than the Vegas today. As I like to do in all of my videos, I have some stories to tell that really hit home this stark difference in Vegas in 1975 versus Vegas in 2025. I was only able to gather a few interviews as there's not a whole lot of old-timers who were there back in the 1970s and still alive and well today, visiting Vegas frequently to compare Vegas in 1975 versus 2025. These stories are great though, and really hits home just how much better Vegas really used to be. Story number 1. The college kid turned lifelong gambler. I was 21 years old in 1975, a student at UNLV, and back then, Vegas was a playground for everyone. I wasn't rich, none of my friends were. We were just kids, waiting tables, working valet, stocking shelves at grocery stores. But the moment we had a night off, we'd head to the Strip like we owned the place. You have to understand something about the way casinos treated people back then. It didn't matter if you walked in wearing a suit or a t-shirt, if you had $100 or 10 in your pocket. The dealers smiled at you just the same. Cocktail waitresses floated by with free drinks, and I mean real drinks, not watered-down soda in plastic cups. You could sit down at a blackjack table with $5 and the pit boss would still call you sir. You felt respected, important even. For us broke college kids, that meant the world. We weren't big shots, but we felt like we belonged in the same room as the big shots. And you know what? We'd stay longer because of it. We'd gamble a little, laugh a lot, and then go grab a $1.99 steak and egg special at 4 in the morning. If we lost $20, we didn't care. We'd gotten a whole night of entertainment out of it. I still remember one night at the Stardust. I sat down at a $2 blackjack table, nervous as hell because I barely had 40 bucks to my name. The dealer, this older guy with a voice like a lounge center, leaned in and said, "Don't worry, kid, the table's lucky tonight." Whether it was true or not didn't matter. He made me believe it. That 40 bucks stretched into 3 hours of play. By the end, I was down maybe $10, but I'd laughed with strangers, drank more beers than I probably should have, and walked out feeling like I just had the best night of my life. That's what Vegas was to us. An escape that didn't break you. A place where you didn't need to be rich to feel like somebody. Fast forward 50 years. I'm in my 70s now, retired, and I still like to gamble a little. But walking into a modern strip casino, it doesn't feel the same. The $5 blackjack tables are gone. Good luck finding one under $25, even on a weekday afternoon. You pay 12 bucks for a watered-down cocktail, and half the time they want you to order it from a phone app instead of talking to a person. The dealers? They're fine, but they don't have time to chat anymore. It's all about efficiency. Keep the cards moving, keep the money flowing. And the executives? Oh, don't get me started. I watch these guys on CNBC talking about maximizing revenue per visitor and attracting higher value clientele. That's corporate speak for, we don't want you anymore unless you're a whale. Regular folks like me, the bread and butter of Vegas in the 70s, we're just filler now. I had a buddy in town last year. First time he'd been to Vegas in 20 years. We walked the strip, and he turned to me and said, "Man, this feels more like an airport shopping mall than a casino town." He wasn't wrong. There are luxury boutiques, overpriced restaurants, and endless fees for everything. Resort fees, parking fees, convenience fees. You walk in with 200 bucks, you're broke before you even hit the table. Back in 1975, casinos bent over backwards to make sure you were having a good time. Now they bend you over to squeeze out every last dime out of you. Sometimes I sit on my porch here in Henderson, sip my coffee and think about those old nights. Me and my buddies, pockets light, hearts full, feeling like kings for the price of a couple of burgers on a blackjack session. Vegas made us believe in luck, in possibility. Today, Vegas makes you believe you should have brought a platinum credit card. And that's the saddest part for me. The magic is gone. The welcome mat's been rolled up. In 1975, Vegas told me, "Come on in, kid. You belong here." In 2025, Vegas says, "Show me the money or show yourself out." Story number 2, the valet who saw it all. I was 19 in 1977, fresh out of high school, when I landed a job as a valet on the Strip. I thought it was just going to be a summer gig. Park a few cars, make some tips, maybe meet a celebrity or two. But that job gave me front row seats to a Vegas most people today wouldn't even recognize. Back then, the Strip wasn't dominated by mega resorts. You had places like the Dunes, the Desert Inn, the Sands, each with their own personality. They weren't these corporate-owned glass and steel palaces. They were run by characters, by people who actually walked the floors. And for a valet like me, that meant you were part of the show. The first thing that stands out, even now, is how accessible everything was. You didn't need to be rich to pull up to the front of a casino in your beat-up Chevy. Nobody cared if your car rattled when it idled. You handed over your keys, slipped me $1 or $2, and in you went. Into a world of neon, live music, cheap drinks, and tables that welcomed everybody. And the tips? You'd be surprised. Some of the biggest tippers weren't the guys in Cadillacs. It was the working stiffs. The construction worker who'd saved up for a weekend on the Strip, the young couple celebrating their anniversary. They'd hand me a $5 with a grin, proud to be part of the Vegas dream. I respected that. Of course, we saw plenty of big spenders too. I once parked a Rolls-Royce for Frank Sinatra's entourage at Caesars. Another time, Evel Knievel showed up in a custom motorcycle, and I swear the guy revved it so loud half the Strip turned their heads. Those were the moments you told your buddies about later. But truthfully, it was the regular folks who made the job fun. The joy on their faces as they walked in, that was Vegas. Now let me tell you what it's like walking into a casino in 2025. I don't work as a valet anymore. Hell, half the casinos don't even have valet. Or if they do, they charge you $30 just for the privilege. $30 to park your car. Can you imagine telling that to my 19-year-old self in 1977? He'd laugh in your face. But that's the difference. In the old days, the casinos wanted you inside. They'd cop your parking, cop your drinks, cop your buffet if you played long enough. Everything was designed to keep you smiling, keep you coming back. Now, the corporate suits figured out they can charge you on the front end, the back end, and every side in between. They don't see a guest anymore. They see a spreadsheet. Last year, I tried taking my grandson to the Strip just to show him a little piece of my youth. We pulled up to one of the big resorts, and before I could even explain the magic of valet, a sign hit us in the face. $25 for self-park, $50 for valet. $50! My grandson looked at me and said, "Grandpa, are we at Disneyland or something?" I didn't know what to tell him, because truthfully, the Strip feels more like Disneyland now, but without the joy. And the vibe inside? It's sterile. Back in the 70s, you'd walk through the casino doors and the air practically buzzed. The sound of coins spilling out of slot machines, live lounge acts crooning Sinatra or Elvis, dealers cracking jokes with the players. You could feel the pulse of the place. Today, it's mostly silence, broken up by electronic slot machines flashing at you like a giant iPad. The dealers are polite but rushed, like cashiers at a supermarket. No banter, no connection, just business. You know what hurts the most? I don't feel welcome anymore. In 1977, I was a kid with no money, working valet, sneaking in to play a couple hands of blackjack on my day off, and still, I felt like I belonged. Vegas made room for me. Now, at 70, after decades of being a loyal customer, the Strip looks at me like I'm not worth their time unless I'm dropping thousands. I still gamble, but I don't do it on the Strip. I stick to the locals casinos off Flamingo or Boulder Highway. They still treat you like a person there. They still bring you a drink without checking if you've spent enough. It's not the same as the old days, but at least it reminds me of what Vegas used to be. When I drive past the mega resorts now, towering over the Strip with their marble lobbies and corporate logos, I can't help but think, if the Vegas I knew in 1977 showed up today in a beat-up Chevy, they wouldn't even let them park. And that, my friend, says everything you need to know about how far this town has fallen. Story number 3, the diner waitress who saw Vegas by night. I started working the graveyard shift at a little 24-hour diner just off the Strip in 1981. I was 22, broke, and needed a job that paid cash tips fast. The casino jobs were tough to land back then unless you knew somebody, so the diner was my ticket in. At first, I thought it'd just be a paycheck, sling coffee, flip pancakes, keep the drunks fed. But let me tell you, working that graveyard shift in Vegas back then was like having a front row seat to the city's heartbeat. The Strip never slept. At 2 in the morning, 3, 4, it didn't matter. The casino lights glowed like it was still high noon, and the streets buzzed with life. Showgirls would come in after their sets, feathers still in their hair, glitter on their cheeks. Dealers came in on break, tired but still sharp in their tux vests, talking about some high roller from Texas who lost his shirt at blackjack. And the tourists? Oh, they poured in non-stop, stumbling, laughing, pockets jingling with quarters from the slots. My diner was the great equalizer. You could have a famous crooner sitting at the counter sipping coffee, and right next to him, a construction worker from Omaha piling into a plate of eggs. Nobody cared. Nobody acted better than anyone else. People swapped stories, made friends, sometimes even picked up each other's tabs. And the prices? Oh, honey, you could feed 4 people for $10. Steak and eggs at 3 in the morning for $2.99. Coffee refills were endless.
It wasn't fancy, but it was Vegas hospitality. People left with a full stomach and a smile, and that meant more than the money. Now let's fast forward to 2025. That diner? Gone. Bulldozed to make way for a chain restaurant inside a resort complex. The kind where a burger and fries cost $27, and you better tip 20% on top if you don't want the server giving you side-eye. It's not just my diner either. Almost every mom-and-pop place that gave Vegas its charm has been swallowed up. These days, if you're looking for food at 3 a.m. on the Strip, good luck. Sure, the casinos have late-night dining options, but they're polished, overpriced, and soulless. No more stumbling into a greasy spoon where the waitress already knows you need black coffee and hash browns before you even sit down. No more mixing of high rollers and bus drivers at the same counter. Now it's all velvet ropes and reservations. The people have changed too. Back in the 80s, my tables were full of laughter, wild stories, people living in the moment. Even the broke ones had a sparkle in their eye because Vegas made them feel rich for a night. Today, when I walk through the Strip as a retired waitress, I don't see that sparkle. I see people glued to their phones, calculating how much they've spent, checking if they've hit their rewards tier. It's not about fun anymore. It's about extracting every dollar. You know what else I miss? The music. In my diner, we had a little jukebox at every booth. Tourists loved it. You'd hear Sinatra, followed by Elvis, followed by Donna Summer, and everyone would sing along while pouring cream into their coffee. Now, the soundtracks inside the big casino restaurants are designed by corporate marketing teams, sterile playlists on repeat. Nobody sings along to those. Sometimes I think about the characters I used to serve. The showgirls with sore feet who ordered pancakes and laughed so loud the whole place joined in. The middle-aged couple from Iowa who tipped me $20 because they said it was the best meal they'd had in their lives. The night a magician tried to pay his tab by making a quarter disappear, I told him to knock it off and give me a real tip. Those moments don't happen anymore because there's no room for them in corporate Vegas. Here's the sad part. Vegas used to need people like me. The waitresses, the bartenders, the valets, the dealers. We were the ones who made the city tick. We made visitors feel like family, even if they'd only be in town for 48 hours. Now, we've been replaced by kiosks, apps, and scripted customer service lines. There's no warmth in that. There's no Vegas in that. The city I knew, the one where a broke 22-year-old could stumble into a graveyard diner shift and suddenly find herself surrounded by neon, music, and stories she'd carry for life, that city doesn't exist anymore. What's left is a theme park version, designed for millionaires, where the magic costs $27 a plate and closes by midnight. I loved being a waitress in those years. It wasn't glamorous and it wasn't easy, but I was part of the pulse of a living, breathing Vegas. And I'll tell you this, no corporate resort, no five-star restaurant, no Michelin chef will ever match the feeling of a packed diner at 3 a.m. full of laughter, cheap coffee, and the sound of coins jingling in every pocket. That was Vegas, and once you've lived it, everything else feels empty.
So, there you have it. Vegas was so much better back in 1975 than 2025. It's not even up for debate. They had a recession back then, similar to now, and yet people still flock to Vegas to escape their problems, if only temporarily, to relax, unwind, recalibrate, and just maybe get a little lucky. If we want Vegas to get back to how it used to be, the solution is simple. Hold these corporations accountable. Vote with your dollars, and if you do go to Vegas, make sure you only go to the ones that treat you right. They're rare, but trust me, they're still out there. Friendly tip, look into some of the casinos downtown. They might not treat you like how folks were treated in the 70s, but they still treat you all right. Unfortunately, that seems to be the best we can ask for nowadays. Thanks for watching. Until next time.